Hello, I'm Sasha of Sasha Makes Cards, and today I'm here with Whimsy Stamps, sharing how I made this super easy Halloween themed card that can be done in 5 to 10 minutes using the Slimline Paper Pack from Whimsy Stamp. So today, in addition to the Slimline Paper Pack, today I'm going to be using the Nightmares Paper Pack. I'm also using the Howling Night Die Set, as well as a sentiment from the new Doggies Halloween Stamp Set. Since I'm going to be using the werewolf die from the Howling Night Die Set, I decided to go with the Happy Halloween sentiment from the Doggy Halloween Stamp Set. Of course, just make sure you choose whatever sentiment goes well with the card that you're making. Since I'm using the werewolf, I thought this was the perfect sentiment to use. Now, before I get into making the actual card, I wanted to share a little overview of all the different papers that are included in this slimline paper pack. In this paper pack, there are 30 single-sided sheets, 2 of the 15 different designs in here, and since they're slimline, they of course measure 8.5 by 3.5 inches each. All of the sheets in here are very spooky Halloweeny themed, and I really love all of them. It was really hard to choose which one I wanted to use today. You can also use these in a ton of different ways, whether you want to use this as your entire card background, the card front. You could also cut it up. You can make a little scene out of it with some stamped images. You can put some die cuts over it, which is what I did today. There really are a ton of different ways to use the slimline paper pack, and for all different occasions. There are definitely some other packs that I really want to get, such as the Frozen pack, which is a fun winter theme, and I think I could do so many fun things with that. Something else kind of similar that I want to mention is Whimsy Stamps also creates and carries these things called quick card fronts, which, as you may guess, are A2 sized card fronts that are super easy to do. You just slap it on a card and you can be done at that. You can customize it a little bit, add your own touch to it, but they are incredibly easy to use, like the slimline paper pad that I just showed you. For both the quick card fronts and the slimline paper pads, there are so many options you can choose from for all the different occasions that you always have what you need to make a card quickly and in a time crunch. Because don't get me wrong, I love coloring. I love all the different stamp sets that Whimsy Stamps offers, including the Doggies Halloween Stamp Set that I am using the sentiment from today. I can't wait to color it. It's so cute. But sometimes you just need to make a card quickly. Slapping on a pre-made card front, such as the quick card fronts or something from the slimline paper pad, is the way to go and makes for some really nice finished cards. But anyways, let me tell you a little bit about what I'm actually doing here on screen. So as I mentioned earlier, I had gone through the paper pad, chosen the background that I wanted to use today, and I decided I wanted to add a little bit more of a spooky kind of vignette around the edges using some ink. So to do this, I'm using some black soot distress oxide and just very easily blending that around the edges using a blending brush. Now doing this makes a very subtle difference. Here's the original one so you can kind of see. It just gives it a bit more of a spooky effect. You can also do some other things to your background. You could spray it, splatter it, which I was thinking about doing. You could use some different color inks. You can experiment with whatever your Halloween heart desires and really have some fun with it. Once I was done inking up the background a little bit, I then moved on to die cutting the dies that I was going to be using to make the card. I decided to go with a few of the dies from the Howling Night Die Set. I went with the cliff as well as the little bit of grass that goes on top of it and one of the werewolf dies included in the set. I die cut those from a piece of scrap black cardstock and then moved on to stamping the sentiment. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be using the Happy Halloween sentiment from the Doggies Halloween Stamp Set, so I went ahead and stamped that onto a scrap piece of white cardstock using some Simon Says Stamp Intense black ink, and then I trimmed it using my guillotine trimmer. I decided to trim it into just a small little strip so that it just kind of sits at the bottom near the die cut on the finished card. Now I decided to go with this sentiment as I really love a good pun. You can't go wrong with a good pun, and I thought this would fit perfect with the werewolf die that I put on the card as well, so I went with this sentiment for that reason. However, you can go with whatever sentiment you want, whether you are doing something punny like I did, or if you just want a sentiment that says Happy Halloween, you can do that as well. Once I was ready, I then put all the pieces together. So to do this, I started by putting some liquid adhesive on the slimline paper, attaching that to my slimline card that measures 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches, then gluing the simple little die cut scene I created into the right hand corner of the card and trimming off the excess. When it came time to glue on the sentiment, I decided I wanted to add a little bit of color to it, so I took the black soot blending brush that I used earlier to blend around edges of my background, a little bit of black soot onto the edges of the sentiment, and then glued that down as well. If you're in a time crunch, this is really an incredibly easy card to make. It only takes 5 to 10 minutes thanks to how quick the Slimline Paper Pack is to use. Just slap it on as a background and you're ready to go. Really, the most time consuming part of this is maybe creating a slimline base if you don't already have them on hand. I know I keep A2 size card bases on hand because that's what I use most often. The most time consuming part of the process was just quickly making a slimline card base because I don't usually have those ready. And that is the completed card project. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out the description below for a list of the Whimsy stamp supplies I used to create this card, as well as links to shop if you would like. As well, you can find social media links to both my social media and the Whimsy stamp social media. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.